Hey everybody, this is Grace. I'm back out here today at 8:19 p.m. June 30th, 2025. And I was out here earlier. I don't remember what time it was, probably around 6 or so. Maybe it was 7. And I made a video, and boy, was I just like, oh man, I didn't like myself. And it was that I was all, kept saying, I'm just tired of all of it. I'm just tired. You know, like I say, I use my channels to vent and, you know, pressure release valve from stuff that's going on. And then I get on with my day and I'm okay, you know. Or, you know, just get this. I don't believe in bottling stuff up inside. I've seen too many people, known too many people who do that, and then they explode over anybody who's around them. That kind of thing. So, but it's just not in me to do it anyway. Whether I had seen that first or not, I was young, I guess. But anyway, so I feel better now after I had that moment. But I do have a little bit of a headache. Not sure why. We're supposed to have that Saharan dust come up this way tomorrow. And the weird thing is, today was pretty hot. Seriously. That's not weird. This is Texas. North of Dallas. Northeast of Dallas. But we're supposed to have, it says right now it's 8:21. I think they were predicting 9 o'clock, and then for a few hours have rain. I don't know about that. I don't see too many, except for that one right there. Rain clouds, really. Okay. As for anything else, yeah, I go back and forth on this one topic, and it kind of all involves all the way around. I just wasn't putting it together that way on the videos, and even in my mind, because they were separate at first. And it's basically about the people who, you know, they're grifters, really. You know, that word just doesn't seem right to me. Grifters, to define them. But, you know, the people who find some way, and I'm talking online, it may be in person too, but they find ways to get money off of people, their audience, and they're master manipulators, and they get, you know, they play the whatever it is, a sob story, cards like right and left, and people fall for it, and people send them money, and you know, some of it's very obvious that it's not true just by looking at them. Now, I don't like to say something like that, because one of them is that they say that they don't have food. And I know what some people would say, I'm not, and I am not any kind of guru or voice of authority on diets and all that stuff, on how people gain weight and everything. You know, I'm 62 years old. I've heard a lot, but I'm not, you know, that's not my thing. So I could be wrong. But I just can't. You know, I don't judge people by their size, but when somebody sets up a whole thing of not having enough money for food and just keeps saying it, and over time does stuff like gains around 100 pounds, cooks real expensive food. I've seen 2 of them do that, real expensive meals. One was a side salad. I know I've mentioned this more than once. A side salad for 2 was 42. Let me see. I wrote it on the card. It's still in here. $42.14. That's what it costs to make a side salad. It wasn't that big for 2 people. Yeah. You hear noise. I'm cleaning the oh, I don't know why I started doing this. Cleaning the wheel. But I don't know. I go from that. Plus, then there's the grifters that just lie. They just get money from their audience, and when you see them and they, ugh, I don't know. I've been on that kick again. I do it probably about once a year. Some years, I guess, I may have skipped in the past 10, 11 years. Probably skipped some, but I've been seeing them ever since then. It's different people. It's not the same people now as it was then. And, yeah. But that whole thing gets to me. And then I was inside. I was reading, reading some stuff about, I guess, I don't even know. I guess I asked a question. It was earlier today. And, online, I like that AI overview, what it says. And I looked up something, and it had a lot of, Reddit comes up quite a bit on these kinds of topics about people who, go to the food, I kept saying it wrong, it's not food banks, that's the distribution place, but as I've read since then, but food pantries, and they go there to get free food, free groceries. Some even say things like to fill up their deep freeze. Okay, these are supposed to be for people who are needy, who actually have what they call it, food insecurities. They don't have enough money for food. And everybody needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the way I remember, was the bottom one was the first one to meet is food, clothing, shelter. And they can't meet those. And so that's why the food bank's there, for them to eat, so they can survive. But there are these people who think it's food pantries. They go there, and that money they're saving, like for themselves and or their families, children, whatever, the money they're saving is for various things. Like one had the nerve to show themselves going on vacation. Actually, two did. I should say two. And that's probably not the only ones. I haven't watched all of them. And, because it is summer and people think, oh, my children, we need to have to entertain them. Let's go on vacation. Well, that money is not there. That food is not there so you can save your money to go on vacation. It's not, period. That is not a need. That is a want. You want to do this, and you do it. But that's not a need. These are for needy people. Get it? Okay. And I'm telling you, I read some of this stuff, and I'm like, wow, such a world of entitlement we live in. Serious. Because some people, have, on Reddit, they have opinions on this. This was a few years ago, even. And some of them, their opinions are, if the person is meeting, their basically food, clothing, and then, clothing and shelter, and they could even meet their groceries, but then they wouldn't have any money in savings. That therefore, it's okay for them to go to food banks, so they can put that money they would use at the grocery store, not food bank, but food pantry. The money they would use at the grocery store into savings. No, it is not set up for that. That's not the purpose of these. But that is the sense of entitlement. That people think that they're entitled to have a savings. And people pretty much say the same thing. The people who have that kind of opinion is that you're living on the edge and you're living paycheck to paycheck, and that's not this and that's not that. Well, that is how it is for a lot of people. Some of them, they become homeless because they can't pay their rent. They have their electricity turned off, their water turned off, and on top of it, not having the money for groceries. And there are these people who think that that's for them to save money so they can take their kids on vacations, and they can get tattoos, they can get more new rings, new what are those things called that measure your steps, the watch kind of thing. They can get new ones of those, and cell phones, and they really think that this is okay. And they will justify, like, oh my, the way they justify it. And no, it doesn't really justify it. In fact, it just makes them look even worse. Really. No. But then that's the thing, you know, it's so many negative stuff. And I'm really tired of negative stuff. Okay, yeah, I had to delete. The music went off. It was what? I don't even really listen to my radio. So, because when I'm driving, usually I'm making videos. Not listen to radio, but I guess it was some classic rock or something like that. And it went, wah, screaming. I don't know. That was kind of weird. So I had to delete that out of there. But anyway, you know, I don't want to always have so much to complain about, or so much to, it's really not, I guess in a way it is complaining, but it's just getting off my chest. You know, stuff like that, that it truly bothers me. When I see people, what's the word? Buck the system, or the term. I think there's two of them like that, but you know, and then they try to tell other people you can do it too. So, you know, trying to cover up their own things, because no, the money's not there for you to get tattoos, for you to get new rings, new jewelry, new hairdos, new fingernails, new go to restaurants, go to, you know, can you imagine this? Really, seriously. Somebody goes to a food bank to get free food when they don't need it. They have the money to buy it, but they do it so they can save their money, which it can be illegal. By the way, I looked it up, the AI overviews. Yeah, more than once. It can be illegal. You know, also they can go and do stuff like go and take their kids to a restaurant. I mean, come on, seriously. These are people, they don't care if they're taken away from other people, from needy. My kids, you know, single parents, or any parent that has kids and they can't afford it. Anybody who can't afford food. Yeah, but a lot of times it's children, and children, elderly, you know, people on fixed income, you know, just people disabled, and on and on, you know, who really need it, really need the food. And then these people, they'll also go in and get the best stuff. They'll go in and first opens up and they rush in there and cherry pick through everything and get the good stuff, because they don't want their kids eating the other stuff, the leftovers. You know? Just the nerve of people. Seriously, oh, good. No, wait. Spoke too soon. I thought that this car that's parked on the road, they're parked legally, but it's not from here, and it's behind our, on the other side of our mailbox, and that just reminds me of the time that one of our neighbors, they moved. She was a crazy woman. Her employees would steal our mail, and we had that verified, by the way. So, yeah, had it investigated, and that's what it was. It was a neighbor, that neighbor. But anyway, I'm still cleaning. I'm still got this thing going on cleaning for whatever reason. But yeah, you know, and I want to stop talking about that stuff. I want to stop having reasons to complain, like I just said. You know, stop having reasons to actually say stuff about these negative things going on. You know, turn a blind eye to all of it. Given my degrees, probably not. But anyway, I think I'm going to go back in. It's I know this isn't a long one like I usually do these days. I have a lot to say. But anyway, I'm going to do that. Talk to you on another video.